Hey, what's going on everybody out there? Welcome to Gamers with Games. Hope you guys have been doing alright. So today I want to talk about Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Wii U and 3DS, as well as also Fire Emblem. One of the biggest topics of debate that people have talked about constantly ever since this game has come out is if we have a lot of Fire Emblem characters included in the game. Do we have too much? Do we have too little? Really, a lot of people seem to kind of lean over to the side that we have way too many Fire Emblem characters representing that series in Super Smash Bros. Now, I think there's a couple reasons for this, and I know a couple other YouTubers have really talked about it here and there about a variety of different reasons why there's so many characters in the game. But there's two different things I want to touch upon that some have alluded to here and there that I really want to kind of expand upon and actually inform you guys why it might actually be the reason there's so many Fire Emblem characters in this actual game. With a couple different things. A couple things that you guys need to understand. Number one, Nintendo is a Japanese-centric company. Obviously, they're going to cater more to the actual consumers towards their actual home country. Granted, Nintendo is really huge here in the United States, but they always originated in Japan. They've been there since the 1800s, you know, monumentally so. It's absolutely ridiculous how long they've been around. But this, I think, also plays into the fact of why there's so many Fire Emblem characters in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, as well as a couple other things. But let's get right into it. One of the things that I want to touch upon, again, they're a Japanese-centric company. The Japanese really love Fire Emblem. I mean, to like a crazy extent. If I go over here, I got some stats for you guys. You know, some of you guys might not actually care for these numbers, but I think it's really important to kind of understand. You know, when talking about Fire Emblem, when talking about the actual series, and then understanding why we have about 5 characters in Smash 4. So, in the original Fire Emblem series, okay, the first 5 games, I want to say, okay, per game, you know, back in the day for I think it's around the Famicom, the NES, as well as also the Super Nintendo era of those games, you know, right before the time of the first PlayStation. Every single one of the games, the first 5 games of the Fire Emblem series, has sold upwards towards about 500,000 copies a pop. For back in those days, that is a really significant number because obviously gaming wasn't as big as it is now. There wasn't as many systems out there, even though a lot of kids grew up with the Super Nintendo or the NES or even the N64 up to a certain extent. But back then, it wasn't as significant as it is now. Back then, that was a huge, ridiculous number, especially in a country like Japan, which is a lot smaller here than compared to the United States. Everybody in Japan was buying this game. I know there was other games, you know, that were very similar at the time, and there was a whole lawsuit, you know, with Fire Emblem back in the day. But a lot of people bought Fire Emblem those first 4 games, you know, especially games like Shadow Dragon and again, you know, a whole bunch of different stuff involving with that series. But now then you go to something like today, when we have the Nintendo 3DS that's out on the market, and we look at one of the most recent Fire Emblem games, because, you know, Fates hasn't come out here in the United States, it comes out next month. Fire Emblem Awakening. Fire Emblem Awakening in Japan has sold upwards a little bit more than about 500,000 copies, over 500,000 copies. And then worldwide, you know, with other parts of the world, including Europe, as well as the United States, you know, North America and such, it's hit up to about almost 2 million copies for the entire world. That's that one 3DS game that isn't Mario, that isn't Zelda, had sold that many actual copies on the Nintendo 3DS system. That is a huge, huge deal. Goes to show you that so many people are really taking a liking to this series, and especially a series that, again, isn't one of the forerunners of Nintendo. So, obviously, with that being said, you know, it's easy to kind of understand numbers-wise and sales-wise why Nintendo would want to cater to the Fire Emblem series a little bit more, especially not only around the world, but also specifically in their home country, really supporting this game. Again, a game that's been around for a long time, that isn't as successful as some of the other big flagship titles of Nintendo, but is still making moves and really causing an impact amongst Nintendo fans and gamers around the world. That's a big, big deal. Now, the other thing I want to touch upon, getting away from numbers for a second, I'm going to get rid of this stuff here. Getting away from numbers. Okay, and talking strictly just about the game, about Smash Bros. Itself, you know, knowing a little bit about the Fire Emblem series, maybe if you didn't actually play a lot of the games that are out there, you know, you didn't play Shadow Dragon, you didn't play the Game Boy Advance game, you didn't play, Radiance Dawn, you didn't play Fire Emblem Awakening, etc. Just looking at Smash, what is it about the Fire Emblem characters that's so appealing, and why do we get so many characters that's almost in line with the Super Mario franchise? We have so many characters from the Mario franchise, which, for obvious reasons, Mario is like one of the kings of video games, flagship runner for Nintendo. That's an obvious choice there. But with Fire Emblem, not so much, yet we're still in the same type of reception, the same type of representation in Super Smash Bros. Well, I think I have the answer, and I think that it's something that some of you guys may not be pleased with, but some of you out there may understand. Fire Emblem, and you know, ever since Melee, when we actually got Marth and Roy included in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and even up until now. Fire Emblem is one of those series that every time a new character gets included into Smash Bros., it almost always includes something brand new to the table. Something different, offers variety amongst the rest of the cast that plays different than most of the other characters included in the game, especially for an actual series that has so much representation in this game. Now, granted, I know a lot of people are going to point the finger at characters like Marth, Roy, and Lucina, who really have a very similar fighting style, but I would argue that a lot of them have a lot more variety than you actually give them credit for. Granted, some of their moves are very similar, they look a little bit almost identical to some sort of extent. However, the properties, the mechanics, how you approach situations, how you approach specific matchups, I believe are completely different from one another. While Marth might use the tip of his sword and actually have a lot of pokes and stuff on top of his smash attacks, Lucina might use somewhat that's a similar style, but really wants you to go up to the face and really kind of wants you to be up close to your actual character, or maybe rely on grabs or, air attacks and such. Roy, while in the same type of light, might be something a little bit different. That's a little bit more of a powerhouse, that's a little bit slower, not as fast, isn't as combo heavy, has much more better charges for his actual shield breaker and such. There are different things that are implemented into there that makes them much more different than before. They're not necessarily just carbon copy clones. That seems to be a lot of the problem that a lot of people have with the Fire Emblem cast specifically, and they really point to those three characters being what's called quote-unquote clones. Characters that are really just carbon copies of previous characters from before. It's the same dichotomy that you see with Mario, Luigi a little bit to an extent, as well as also Mario and Dr. Mario, which is really the big one, because the movesets are almost exactly the same, almost literally carbon copies of the same, but the mechanics are different. That's what seems to be the real big thing that people seem to miss. The way that you actually approach matchups, the way that you actually have the mechanics, and the way that they're programmed, and all the different types of elements to those moves are completely different from one another, making them two completely different characters in how you actually play them. You won't play Marth and Marth and Lucina the exact same way. You might think that they're the same thing, but again, look at their matchups. Look how you actually approach those different types of matchups and situations when you play them online and for glory or amongst your friends locally like that. Two completely different characters. But getting away from that, and I look towards the rest of the Fire Emblem cast, Ike, Robin, Corrin, the list goes on. These different characters all have unique, very, very unique, and kind of like off the chain, off the wall fighting styles based off their original games. A lot of the characters for Fire Emblem, every time there's a new Fire Emblem character that's implemented into a Smash Bros. Game, he almost always brings something brand new to the table. With these Fire Emblem characters, all 5 of them, look at the variety of fighting styles that we have that's completely different. Granted, most characters in Super Smash Bros. Have their own unique fighting styles and their own unique quirks and unique abilities and stuff, but we go from kind of like fairly simple, mildly technical with like someone like Marth or Roy, and then we go all the way up to someone like Corrin, who's coming right around the corner in the February update, the February DLC and such, to a very technical, very off-the-wall, complicated character and fighting style that is something that we didn't really even see as much in previous games. I think that's a huge, huge positive for a game like Super Smash Bros., especially if you want to get into the competitive side of things. If you want the game to be more than just a party game or just a game that you could play casually and stuff, there's a huge, huge technical aspect to that, and I feel like the Fire Emblem series specifically, with all its representation, is really kind of an advocate for that. All these fighters that are being represented in this game, who people feel they're taking up some of the spots, are really offering something really unique and interesting to a lot of the characters and most of the cast and the roster. Again, a lot of people out there will not change their views. They'll actually still say that, characters like Corrin, characters like Robin, etc., we're taking spots away, for representation from characters like King K. Rool, who is like a big villain of the Donkey Kong series, or Wolf from Star Fox. But then I pose this question to all of you guys. Where were you guys when actually most of those games that were coming out for those particular series, where were you buying them? Some of you may have bought them out there, but where are the numbers to actually prove it, to actually push Nintendo to actually include more representation and give more of that series to the people? Where was everybody when Star Fox 64 3DS came out? I know some of you out there, like myself, bought the game, but obviously clearly seems to be more people are buying a Fire Emblem than something like this, who was one of the flagship runners of Nintendo back in the day. Same thing, I would go with the same argument with Donkey Kong. A lot of people were really kind of screaming and shouting for King K. Rool and stuff, but where were you guys when Donkey Kong Country Returns, or Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, or Donkey Kong Country Returns Tropical Freeze came out on the Wii U? Where were you guys buying those games to show Nintendo that you really want to support these series and stuff? Again, some people won't change their views. They'll say, well, I still bought it, and obviously I still want it, and it wasn't getting any sort of representation and stuff. Well, you know, at that point, again, you tell your friends to buy the actual game. Show Nintendo that you guys want to see more of these actual characters and such. Maybe in the Smash ballot, instead of voting for Goku or Shrek and stuff, some of you guys that were kind of joking around with that should have actually voted for those characters. Maybe you should actually do that. Oh man, somebody's screaming outside. Look, he's probably upset because he didn't get King K. Rool. Either though, regardless, okay, most of you guys should have actually did some of the stuff like that. And again, if looking at the numbers and looking at some of the stuff that these characters are offering and such, it seems that Nintendo is obviously going with what their gut feeling was the most obvious of the obvious. People are buying a Fire Emblem. They want to see more of those characters. They're offering different fighting styles that are completely changing up the roster and really adding variety to the stuff. So that's all I got for this, guys. That's just my opinions and everything. I know some of you out there might differ, but I'm curious to hear what you guys actually think. Put it in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys think about the Fire Emblem cast, you know, about all 5 Fire Emblem characters that are included in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. You know, tell me, you know, if you agree or disagree with some of the points I was putting out there, the sales, the fighting styles, the variety, all the difference in nature for the actual game. Put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Gamers with Games channel. I have a bunch of different videos on there that similar to this, you know, vlogs as well as talking about different games and also motivation for gamers out there. Hopefully you guys get a good kick out of that. Check out all the videos. Again, leave comments, like the videos, and share the actual links with all your friends. You know, tell more people about these videos and these vlogs that I keep giving to you guys. I'm also going to continue streaming on Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. I play a lot of Smash Brothers on there. I'm actually going to be playing more Smash Brothers tonight, you know, actually having fun with that. It seems like a lot of people are really responding to that compared to other games. So I'm going to continue playing Smash tonight, but every single night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm streaming on Twitch. Link is in the description box below. Hope I get to see you guys there. You get to follow the channel, hang out with the chat fam, and actually interact with everything, as well as also the games. I sometimes play with people on stream, you know, when they send friend requests to my Nintendo Network ID. Check it out. It's going to be amazing. So I will talk to you all very soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.